Evening, everybody. I hope you're all well. Welcome to Sniper Sundays. Hope you've all had a great weekend and ready to get stuck in to another week. We are just off the back of the major non-farm payroll news on Friday, which was very, very, very strong for the US dollar. A lot more jobs created in America over the past month, and so that number increased quite by quite a lot. And you may have seen over the weekend. President Trump obviously loves to basically blow his own trumpet and has been saying how well the US economy has been doing since he's taken over and so on and so on. But basically, a lot more jobs created, which is what the non-farm payroll is about. Let's quickly flip over to the calendar. This is this week. Let's go back to last Friday just so those of you who haven't seen it can see. You can see here non-farm employment change up to 224,000 from a forecasted 162,000 and a previous of 72. So a big jump, which was not really expected by many people, but I did expect a stronger US dollar, which is why I was looking at a lot of pairs which we were in, which was the stronger US, which was favouring the US, a strong US dollar. For instance, USD JPY, which we held on to that trade, USD CAD being the main one, and some other trades. We were in some trades that were opposite for US dollar, but which I'll get to into in a second. But obviously was expecting the other side of that pair cross, for instance, GBP USD, for the GBP to increase. But with the US dollar, with such being such a big jump from previous, that's why the US dollar just had that really strong outcome on Friday, and that really strong bullish move. So you can see here the other trade, the main trade we were looking at last week was USD CAD. Again, the charts are telling us or showing us, and you'll see this time and time again as we trade with each other more often. The charts start to show you signs of what's going to come with the fundamentals, which I'll go over with USD CAD in a minute. Could see that it was overextended on short trades. We needed a pullback, and we're going to have a sharp pullback very soon. We're pushing. We're coming to the very end, and we could see that we're going to have the change coming in. So you can see here USD CAD employment change minus is actually in a minus, so a loss on the employment change there. So bad news for US dollar CAD and strong news for the US dollar. So big moves on the market Friday. I said US dollar biggest mover. And while we're here, let's look into next week. So Monday, pretty quiet day. Nothing really happening on Monday. Tuesday is a quiet day, apart from the Mr. Powell speaks from the Fed, who Trump has also had a few words about the Federal Reserve over the weekend, which you may have read about. If not, just have a look. Basically, he hasn't had very good words about the Federal Reserve. And then on Wednesday, we got some GPP news, just standard manufacturing and GDP news. We got Canadian news on Wednesday, which is could be a big mover for us. We got the monetary policy report, the Bank of Canada rate statement, overnight rate. So this could be a big mover for USD CAD. So obviously we're in really good profit on Friday, taking some profit, stop loss at break even, but I do expect more upside on that, which we'll go over. The Federal Reserve Powell talks again, and then we have more news from the Canadian dollar. So USD CAD is going to be a big mover next week. Then on Wednesday evening, the FOMC meeting minutes, which happens once every month. So that will be a big mover for many pairs as well. So Wednesday is a high impact day. So we may see a quiet sort of start to the market on Tuesday and Monday. You see there's not much news as we anticipate all of this news on Wednesday, especially from Canada and from the US. Thursday then, a little bit of news, not major, CPI news and so on coming. And then Fed Powell speaks once again. So he's got a busy week this week. And then on Friday, US PPI. So lots of movement expected from the US dollar this week. I'll just go to the US dollar index. Now, I'm just going to zoom out on this. If you remember, if you look back to some past videos, I remember talking about the US dollar and being in this uptrend. So you can see swing higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and so on. And I marked out the charts that I want to show you today are charts that I've had marked out for quite a while. I don't change them. So anything how I had it set up on Friday from the morning and evening calls, I'm going to look over exactly how it was. So I had this this marked out, which was the last higher low. So, and I explained that we need to break this in order to kind of break the sort of uptrend that the US dollar has been in. So it came down, broke down below 96.50, that monthly level. But then obviously earlier last week, remember I had this area, consolidation area highlighted after breaking out of this one here. We were here, sorry, I had this highlighted, we broke out, retested a support, and then pushed up. So we can just see here clearly that the US dollar has been quite strong over the past week. After a week where we were very weak on the US dollar, all of a sudden we have a big change. Let's just have a look at the weekly. It shows you never get caught up too much with the market and how it moves. Things can change quite quickly. So you can see here, very bearish week. Doji candle. From here, a lot of people would be selling the US dollar, thinking that it's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And then as we started looking last week, that we were actually looking for the US dollar to strengthen. So we pushed up back above 96.50, and then last week on Friday, off that non-farm payroll, we pushed up again, tapping this trend line. Keep an eye on this now. We're seeing some rejection. So seeing, can the US dollar strengthen, or will it weaken next week? So this is what I will be keeping an eye on. We're at an interesting level now, which you can see here. We have that third tap of the trend line. Sort of an evening star formation on the 4 hour there. But remember, it was market closed. So we have to see how market opens this week and give it any more news, and Trump talking and tweeting and so on like he likes to do. So we've got to keep an eye on that. We are in a nice uptrend at the moment now. Let's just have a look. I'll bring this on. So we are in this sort of up channel now. We didn't really quite tap the top of that, but I am keeping an eye on US dollar around these levels to see can we continue to break up and push up higher. And if we do, then the US dollar has some scope to go up. We could come up and tap sort of the former resistance levels up around the highs here. And then if we can manage to break that, then we can go even higher. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, just trade what we see. I'm looking at this next week, seeing if this does cause resistance. Have we just had a bit of manipulation from the non-farm payroll on Friday, like we've seen on the last couple of non-farm payrolls since the community opened, and whether we're actually going to find some resistance around these levels, just created a new lower high in this new downtrend, and whether we're going to push back down. So all eyes on Euro USD next week, especially with Mr. Powell speaking from the Federal Reserve and the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, which is going to be a big mover for US dollar. So saying that, let's look at Euro USD. So I was looking at this last week, just going to the 4 hour, that explained that we were just moving sideways within this until we came out and tapped this this trend line. On the news, broke out, news was very strong, carried on pushing down. So we were just having that, again, see that consolidation move just before the next big move. So came down and we tapped that support level here of the trend line support, and we spiked through it. Very close to the sort of support level, 1.1200. But what I'm going to show you here is, again, on this sort of daily chart here, on the new uptrend that we've created. We've got point one here and point 2. So any 2 points on the chart creates a trend. So you can see overall on Euro USD, we are in a downtrend. Long term we've got a downtrend. But shorter term or short to mid term, you can see here, these are on the daily chart. We've got the higher high, higher low, higher high, and creating a higher low. Now remember, this level here is the higher low. So from here, in the current trend that we're in, this is a very important point. This level here is very important to whether you're going to stay in the short to medium term uptrend, which means that If we could come down and not break below this level, that then find support as a good opportunity coming up, coming above the previous highs and coming back up to sort of monthly resistance. Should we break this this level here, then the short to medium term trend is broken, and then the short term trend is actually short, and then that lines up with the medium term trend, which is short. And the long term trend that's short. So then we might see a new big wave of short sellers pushing in and selling Euro USD. So we need to keep an eye on this. This is going to be a pinnacle level next week. I am going to be watching this level closely. I think we may just keep pushing down a little bit lower on market open and on Monday stroke Tuesday. Maybe come into Wednesday with the FOMC meeting, come down and really tap this level and start to test this level. And from here, we will see whether US dollar is going to gain strength and actually push this down lower, or whether we are just going to start weakening again and push up higher. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for this week, and keeping a good close eye on this sort of level here. Euro GBP, this pair has been just at a bit of a stalemate, just moving sideways for a while. We're still short on this. You can see here on sort of Friday, we had this consolidation zone here on Friday. Didn't really move much. Tried to break out to the upside. Still stopped by this resistance that we've had for a long time, and didn't break up and push above the previous highs where our stops are above. The head of the head and shoulders movement. So it looks like we're starting to push down now. Can we finally get out of this sort of rut that we're in and actually start breaking down and start moving? So look on the daily chart. Daily chart suggests nicely. We've got a nice shooting star, a bearish engulfing the previous 1-2 days. 4-hour chart, a bearish engulfing here. Nice end to the day, and start sort of breaking out of this little consolidation zone that we're in. And looks like we are in for more downside, which we have been expecting for quite some time. Stop losses was above 0.9000, and the pound strength that I'm looking for, we might actually see coming into the market this week now. Break this counter trend line, get rid of this area, and if we can break this counter trend line here, then I do see this pair coming down to 0.8900 and even lower. But let's just get past this sort of hurdle first here. Just looking on the daily chart, you can see what I've been saying for a long time. We are well overdue an extended pullback. Anywhere coming down in sort of these regions would be nice for Euro GBP. So if so, then we have caught the very, very top once again. And hopefully we can see a couple of hundred pips on this. So yeah, just keeping an eye on that as always. Euro NZD, explained to take some more profit last week. We popped up as New Zealand dollar lost some strength. I think I highlighted this area again, like I was just explaining on the other pairs. When you're in a trend, you have to break the last lower high or lower low in order to invalidate. So for instance, here we've got Euro NZD, we've got this downtrend. So this is a lower high here at this point. Then we have lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and then so for instance, see here, actually let me just get rid of, let me just adjust this to here. So you see this level here with this yellow highlighted zone, that's the last lower high. So in order to break this downtrend, we need to break and close above this level, and then that invalidates this short trend. Then we can start looking at pullbacks coming back down and taking longs to move up higher. But as you can see here, we come back up, sort of retesting resistance area now, having a shooting star, bearish engulfing. So we may see another wave of a downtrend on NZD USD. We have a break of this counter trend line. If we break this counter trend line, then we will see more selling pressure come into Euro NZD, and we'll be looking at coming down for new lows. Obviously, there's support levels here to keep an eye on. And then I'll keep an eye on this sort of level here, support. Obviously, if this came down and supported this again, and we found support of this counter trend line, as you can see coming across the screen here, through here, we found support here, and on this support level could create an inverse head and shoulders, and we might see a move up. So that's always got to be in the back of our mind. but still holding that short trade with only about 10 to 15% left on it. It's about 400 pips of profit, so letting this just continue to come down, let it do its thing, not panicking. Could be looking at possible buy trades next week, but I do expect to see this push down and test this counter trend line, test the support level one more time before us witnessing any weakness and maybe the bulls coming into play. Very similar with Euro AUD. You can see we've had a little bit of a pullback, but general, we'll just put on a trend line here. You can just see that we're in a downtrend still. So we may come up, sort of tap these levels, but we are still in a downtrend. So we might come back up, sort of tap the former support here, you can see. Tap that and then roll over to the downside. But again, still holding this trade with a small percentage still running. Not really worried about it, just letting this continue to play out. Now, GBP USD. So what we were looking at this last week was this inverse head and shoulders sort of playing out here. So this is what I marked out on the morning call, the evening call previously. And we were here on Friday morning, explaining I would not be surprised if we see this come back down and sort of test this level one more time, or come lower, because we want to take out stop losses before moving higher. Now, off the back of the news, I did explain that your stop loss needs to be back down below here, around a 1.2500. As always, when you have a stop loss below or above the previous high, you should have 25 to 30 pips stop loss. Now, I understand some of you may have got stopped out on this, but we'll be looking for this again next week to take a new long trade. If you're still in this, then you can see here we've had that rejection and we've had that support from here, but as it did come down here, we've got 1.250 and we had that push down to 80. Let's just say we got stopped out on this. Let's just say we lost this trade, one loss that we had last week. But I am still looking for long trades from this level. Now, if you haven't been stopped out, great. If your stop loss was wide enough below here to let this move. Now, the reason I said on Friday about having a wider stop loss was because of the non-farm payroll manipulation. Now, you can see here, we have pushed down lower like I was expecting to try and take out some stops. But with the strength of the US dollar being very extreme and the result of the non-farm payroll being a lot higher than expected, we managed to keep pushing down, and really just getting everybody out of the market. Anyone that was on a long trade just fearing, taking stop losses out here, and then now we're starting to see a little bit of a reversal. So from this level now, especially obviously we tapped that monthly support level of 1.2500. I am very, very, very interested in this level here. You can see we've had that pin bar, sort of try to engulf it on the preview on the next candle. If I just come out of this here, zoom out on the 4 hour, nice clean tap here. I am going to be monitoring price action on GBP USD all around these levels and looking for long trades. On more rejection from around these areas. So I do still favour GBP USD to the upside from these levels. You can see clearly from that rejection that we had on Friday, we pushed down and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullish candles straight after. So I am keeping an eye on this. Keep an eye on more rejections from around these levels, and we may see a nice push up higher. Reason being on this is because we can see obviously the pound has managed to pull back on here. Even on the daily, you can see on the daily we've had that sort of pin off that monthly support level. Remember, this is against a pair that had a very, very, very strong US dollar. So this could, if the pound has been able to push back against the US dollar, who finished very strong on Friday, then we need to think, well, obviously there is some strength there in the pound. Then you can also see in GBP JPY. Basically, I was looking at longs, as mentioned to you guys on Friday, coming out, breaking out of that consolidation zone, come back to retest it and push out. But you can see here the strength of pound. The strength of the pound has pushed up here against the Japanese yen. And again, I'm looking at long trades on this, as I was all last week. And when I'm explaining these trades to you guys, obviously I'm covering 10 to 12, maybe more pairs on a daily basis. I will at times send you the trade setups with the screenshots of the stop losses and break evens. But what you guys and many of you guys are really getting good at is obviously, um, when I'm explaining all of these trades every day, I'm giving you my bias and showing you what I'm thinking in the market, where I think it's going to go. Then you're using that along with what I'm teaching you, along with your own sort of bias and your own trading, and use that as an extra confluence in order to buy or sell. So, for instance, if I've gone through a lot of pairs last week. I said that I'm looking at selling Euro GBP, buying GBP USD, holding other trades and so on. Then obviously you can take all of that information. I said about buying GBP, JPY. So you don't have to wait for me to tell you, because it's not a signal group. You don't have to wait for me to say, right, buy or sell. I'm giving you all the information you need, and off the back of that, you start taking trades and you start seeing the things that I'm telling you to look out for, and then you start taking your own trades. So loads and loads and loads of you, for instance, on Aussie dollar, um, you were helped out by me massively by saying that this do not take a short when we had this push down, and that we were going to come back up and tap that sort of 0.70500 level. And then loads of you took the trade off that, which was great. So you're using that information that I'm giving, and using it along with your own trading, and then taking those trades. Not waiting for me to give you a trade setup every time. As I said, it's not a signal group. I'm not physically telling you when to buy and sell. I'm giving you market bias on every single pair. And as you can see, it near enough always plays out. So for instance here, it's saying not to take a short trade and wait till we come back up to the top. And then we came up to that level. Obviously, I did draw on this sort of consolidation, so I thought we might come and test this up again. But many of you took it onto yourselves to take that short trade, which is great. As I said, let's go back to GBP, JPY. Was expecting long trades on this. We had that sort of pin bar finish, broke out of this consolidation zone. What I'm going to be waiting for next week is to see if we can get that pound strength. But I do expect that this might come back down first and sort of retest these levels once again. Like I always say, giving us more than one opportunity to take a trade. I do think that will come down, give us an opportunity to sort of retest these levels once again. And if we do, and we get rejections like we always look for, then we may be able to take that trade. So let's see if we can see for GBP, JPY to pull back lower. But my bias is look for long trades on this pair. USD JPY, again, my chart as it was, daily chart, nice bullish day there on Friday. So I was explaining all last week, we took a long trade on this from a week and a half ago. We reached 120 pips, pulled back down, we took 50% profit at the highs, pulled back down, and then we can see here, as I showed last week, we had that sort of, we were just having that retracement here to that former lower high, found that support, and then we pushed up to the upside and managed to create new highs. Now we're struggling around here once again. I'll just put this across here. You can see that price is starting to struggle across here once again, but I do expect more upside on this. As I said, I think on market open, I think price will push up higher. We'll see the US dollar gain a bit more strength, but then it's whether it will continue that we need to keep an eye out for. But I do expect Euro USD to come and break up above these sort of areas here, and gain more strength to the upside. Obviously, when I see how market opens, I'm open to change. If the market shows us that it's weakening and we are failing to break above these resistance levels, then we could maybe possibly look at a short trade. But I'm favouring more upside on USD JPY at the moment. USD CAD broke out at that 4-hour trend line, which you can see here coming across your screen. On Friday, we were tapping into that and rejecting it, pushing down. Before non-farm payroll for the day before, price pushing down below my long region. So again, what I was explaining to you guys is when I put up these regions, it means I'm looking at buying or taking a long trade anywhere within this region. It doesn't mean you have to buy straight away. You can have more patience, learn how to read price action within these areas, and then when you see the opportunity, then take the trade. For instance, this really nice pin bar showed a rejection of the lows here, and we were just trying to manipulate around the bottom before making a move the other way. Now, obviously, what I was explaining here is USD CAD was very oversold. You can see this big move down, but not a big move back up. We were around this major support level, and I could just tell and could just see by price action on Friday, especially when we see things like this manipulation, which you've seen twice now on USD CAD. You saw it the previous week where we had that manipulation down before a move up, and you can see here we had a nice move up and then a move back down, big spike to the downside, trying to take out any stop losses before the move higher. Then we did have that move that I was expecting all week from here, from the bottom here, 1.3050 all the way up to 1.3136, so just under 100 pip move to the upside. Yeah, big move up to the upside. Spikes then and pushing back down. And remember, Canadian was weak, but the US dollar was very strong. But in order for this to have gone the opposite way of all other pairs, we can see that Euro USD, the US dollar was very stronger. Here, what we can see here, the US dollar was strong here, and also the Canadian dollar was very weak. So this had that big push up, more so than other pairs. Sorry, is what I'm trying to say. You can see we had a big push down on Euro USD, but we had this big spike on USD CAD as we had weak strong US dollar news and weak CAD news. We had these big spikes back down to the downside. We've come down and retested this sort of support level that you've seen drawn on. This support level here was our stop loss. So we come down and retested it. Bit of choppiness on Friday, but I am still expecting more upside on this pair. Now, we've got loads of news on Friday coming out. Sorry, not Friday, on Wednesday coming out for USD CAD. Stop losses are at break even now on USD CAD, so I'm just moving that stop loss level off. I had a huge spike to the upside and push back down, but I do expect more upside. You can see here we come down and retesting that support level. I want to see how we react on market open, but I am still expecting more upside on USD CAD, and I have got a long bias still on USD CAD. So holding this trade, want to see a break back above this sort of level. May take some patience with this. This sort of level here, sort of a form of support. I'll just put on a highlighted level, so we don't always tap levels 100%. So you've got to draw on a little region. So you've got this support, breakthrough, resistance, and we're finding some resistance around this level once again. So I want to see us come back up and break through that. If we can break through that, we've broken that last lower high on the downtrend. At the moment, we're sort of trapped here and stuck within this sort of zone, or this consolidation zone. So we may come down, test the lower parts of this again. We're still looking for long trades on USD CAD. Aussie dollar, keeping an eye on this, as well as USD CAD, as a lot of the time they can have opposite correlation. But like I was showing you on the US dollar, the dollar index chart a little while ago, we are just coming down to sort of that last lower high on the uptrend. So higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and just creating a higher low. So we need to see now, we are going to run into some support here on Aussie dollar. So if you took a short from the top, take some profit. And let's see whether this is actually going to be able to break through this level. But we might see a little bit of a pullback higher before we move lower, if any. So keeping an eye on this sort of level this week and this level, and between the two, seeing we bounce off this, come back up, reject this level, might have a head and shoulders movement and push down to the downside, or whether we break that and push up higher. But we may break through this, and then on a retest as resistance, we reject that, we could look at taking short trades. New Zealand dollar is sort of a similar situation. We're coming down here, we've got the last support and resistance region here, and this level is the last lower higher low. So we're going to come down, test this market structure, and see whether are we just pulling back before moving higher, or whether we are actually now bearish. So you can see here we've got this sort of 50% that we've tested once here, twice here, this sort of level here. So I'm keeping an eye on New Zealand dollar, but we need to basically just watch how the market settles on Monday and Tuesday, because always after non-farm payroll on a Friday, never rush into a trade on a Monday, because there's huge manipulation on a Friday, and then that can continue into Monday, as we saw a little while ago on Euro US dollar. where we had the fake breakout to the upside, and then the next couple of days we had, I think it was here, that we had a fake breakout to the upside, and then we had 1 or 2 days of just sideways movement before we had that big push back down that we all took the short trade on. So yeah, we could, again, on Monday, Tuesday being a quiet day, fundamentally we may just see a bit of manipulation on US dollar pairs. So I'm not jumping into them, keeping these levels on our charts and just keeping an eye on how it reacts. So remember, US dollar, we're looking at how we react against that support level. Just sit back and wait, let it do its thing. Let's see how the market reacts around there. Likewise with Australian dollar, US dollar, and New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Keeping an eye on all of those. Gold, we had a big push down on Friday, had that double top. That was during the night for many of us. Was hoping for another push up to the upside, but we never got that, and it's pushed down to the downside. Obviously, with a stronger US dollar, we've had a weaker gold. Now, again, are we going to push down like on Euro US dollar? Are we going to push down a little bit more before pushing, finding support and pushing back up? You can see how Euro US dollar here is quite similar to gold. How we have that little bit more room to the downside, but we might push down on market open. But from there, we've got to keep an eye on it and see whether we're going to be able to break that, or if we're going to push back up one more time. So keeping an eye on those sort of scenarios. US oil, bullish day on Friday, bullish engulfing on the previous day. We are running into this resistance sort of level here, as you can see, resistance, support, and may act as resistance once again. But I'm still holding this long trade from down here. As I said, obviously with such a 900 pip move up, we have to expect a pullback down. But then on the hedge trading, what we do is take a short trade, and then after 100 pips, we take 50% profit, and then we have a position in the market that we've taken profit from, with our stop loss at break even, and with our long trade, we have taken profit with our stop loss at break even. So should this now push up to the upside and take this trade out at stop loss at break even, and we move up higher, we continue to make money from our original trade down at the bottom. So very, very clever. So talking about hedge trading and talking about teaching you guys new things brings me to some more exciting stuff to tell you. Now, if you remember a while ago, well, about 2 weeks ago, I told you that I had some new things to tell you guys, or some surprises. So two things is, first and foremost, the webinar. Now, obviously, I was very sorry that got delayed, but I wanted to do it properly for the group and do it so that it was all set up and in a way that is just for us community members. Now, later on this afternoon, once you've watched this, you're going to notice that there will be a webinar section on the Discord app. There will be a webinar section on the Discord app for you guys to be able to actually go into. So it's like you'll see that we have the community chat, then there's going to be a live webinar. So there's a live webinar section that we've got just for you guys on the Discord app. I will have to send you, don't try and do anything just yet. You'll just see that we've been working on something, and that's why that's there. And I will then be posting some instructions into the group chat, which will tell you how to basically set yourself up so that you're in and ready for the webinar. Now, I'm going to make the webinar on Wednesday, so webinar Wednesdays, to look forward to. And one of the reasons why is because we can have a look live. It's going to be at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. I'll give you all the information, but we have a lot of loads and loads and loads of news on Wednesday. So on 7 o'clock, we have the FOMC meeting, and I've explained to you guys that we get loads and loads of manipulation around that sort of movement, or that time in the market. So a couple of hours later, because it helps with different people all around the world, 9 o'clock, nice time in the UK as well. 9 o'clock in the evening, we'll have a live webinar. We'll review the markets, see if we have any live trades, or just basically review what's happened just after the FOMC meeting and what's happened with all this sort of news during the day. So we will take a look at that. I'm going to do some questions and answers, and I'm going to take a review over some stuff. Now, for the first one, I want you guys to just privately send me your questions, because it's going to be the first one. I don't want it to be too overloaded on the webinar that day. So what I'm going to be doing is having a straight one-to-one with all of you guys. So you're going to be able to see me. I'm going to be explaining all the questions and answering the questions that you guys send through, and I'm going to go over the charts, and everything's going to be live as a webinar. Now, what you can do is over the next few days, send me your questions. I'm going to take maybe the first or the most 10 answered, or the 10 most asked questions, and then I'm going to answer those. So the ones that keep coming up, or the ones that people have asked me a lot already, I kind of have some stuff that I want to go over, because to clear some stuff up for people. And then on top of that, because obviously I missed that webinar previously, I'm going to make up for that by doing one more regularly. So I'm going to do a webinar this week coming. I'm going to do a webinar the week after. When they're supposed to be due once a month, I'm going to do it more often. Also, as we have it all set up now within the Discord chat and within the group, there may be times that something may be happening. We can, or at certain times during the week, I'll add more webinars. So it's not just educational, but there may be a time that there may be something like a non-farm payroll or something like that, and we can sort of jump on and have a webinar and see how the market is reacting, watch the market together. And then all of these things will, of course, be recorded, so anybody that doesn't make them will be able to watch them. Now, the second thing is something that I've told a couple of people in the group, or before they joined the group, when they were just asking. I wanted to keep it as a bit of a surprise, but I have been working on it in the background, and as I said, it's all included. And what it is a free meetup is what I'm going to be doing very, very soon. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, for instance, the first one is going to hopefully be at the end of September in London. So the first, what I'm going to be doing is free meetups for community members. Anyone that's a community member at the time can come along to the free meetup. I will be doing a full day of trading. So basically, we'll be in a room or wherever it may be together. We'll be having a full day on a weekend, so like on a Saturday, so everybody can come along. There'll be a venue. You can come along from the morning. We'll have it all structured throughout the whole day. So we spend a whole day of trading. So you all bring your laptops. I'll be explaining how to do the basics, some of the more advanced stuff, explaining it in person. And yeah, I'll be basically giving you some free learning to help answer any questions and go over everything that we've sort of spoken about in the group over the past few months. Obviously have a live Q&A, so we can have loads of questions. Obviously meet all of you guys, so all of you can meet me. I can start putting some faces to the names that have been in the group, and obviously you guys all actually just meet each other and start talking to each other. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's something I've been working on for a little while. We'll be giving some more information over the next couple of weeks, so you guys, whoever wants to attend or who can attend, can basically click that they're attending. Just let us know that you want to come along, so we can get everything organized for the day. And also, guys, don't worry that the first one is going to be in London, but it's not only going to be in London. The first one's going to be in London, as I'm based here, and we've got a lot of people in the UK. But then we're going to be going into America, into Europe. So all you guys all around can also get a benefit. So everybody benefits, everybody meets up. So for instance, in the UK, people that are in London will obviously meet other people in London, and then they can basically create friendships and create and start helping out each other and create a bit of a community. Or people all around the UK who come to London for that day, they'll meet other people from their areas and so on. And the same as, for instance, if we go to America, there'll be people that will come, and it'll get you to introduce you to other people within your areas or not too far away that obviously interested in the same thing, obviously are trading together. So then you can also as I said, create a community where we all know each other and we all help each other. So that is one of the main things that's going to be coming up. I said hopefully it's going to be at the end of September All the details will be coming out soon, and that's obviously only for community members. So no, anybody outside the community will not be involved. Also, it's not just going to be trading. Obviously, it's going to be quite an intense day. I want to give you guys as much information as possible, but it's going to be relaxed at the end. We're going to have drinks, we're going to have some food, all chill out. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing loads of you guys there. That's going to be a really, really cool and great event. So lots to look forward to. Webinar this week, webinar the week after, events coming up quite soon, and yeah, basically let's get ready for another week. So we've kind of recapped what happened last week. We had a nice long trade on USD CAD that I gave to the group. Unfortunately, got stopped out on GBP USD. If your stop loss was tight around that 1.2500, but you may still be in it. And we've got that short trade on Euro GBP that was still looking to come through. On top of all the other trades that you guys have been able to jump on, just give it by me giving my bias in all the other pairs, what I think is going to happen, where I think price is going to go, like Aussie dollar and so on. So results are great from the group. Great to see. So well done. Keep it going. And I will catch up with you on the webinar on Wednesday. It says it's going to be 9 o'clock. I'll post the details soon. You're going to see that on the forex, on the Discord chat, that there is going to be, that you'll see that there's a live webinar option. I'll post the link soon, and then it will tell you what to do to get in there. So on Wednesday, we're all ready to roll and have that webinar. So have a great evening. I'll speak to you all soon. Good night.